Hi, it's Gita, and this is Answer the Question. This weekend, over 7 million people took to the streets all across the United States, in addition to the protests that went on in about 18 countries around the world, and it was called the No Kings protest. This week, I've seen a lot of videos saying how stupid it was that people went out to protest, and it was dumb because obviously Donald Trump is not a king. So let's look at what it was really all about. Organizers of the No Kings protest used the term No Kings symbolically to protest against what they see as a slide into a more authoritarian government trying to centralize power underneath one man. Protesters and participants feel that President Trump's authoritarian tendencies and abuse of executive powers violate core democratic principles that the nation's founded on and represent a move towards fascism. So let's take a look at what organizers of the No Kings protests said that they were specifically protesting against, and then we'll talk a little bit about what fascism is. So the term No Kings was obviously supposed to hark back to the American Revolutionary War, where the original settlers of the United States overthrew a king, the British monarch. The United States was founded on the rejection of rule by a single monarch and on the principle that the power belongs to the people of the nation. So the slogan was adopted to reaffirm the Constitution and serve as a reminder that the US president is a head of state with checks and balances, not an absolute ruler who gets to push through his agenda and his agenda alone. And the use of the term king is also a rejection of the authoritarianism, of the strongman politics that President Trump prefers, and his policies, which organizers of the protest describe as an authoritarian takeover and democratic backsliding. The term No Kings was also adopted in response to President Trump's own rhetoric, as well as the words of his supporters. President Trump and his supporters have themselves used language similar to the language of kings. They have said they alone can do it. They've used imagery portraying him as a king with a crown on his head. And President Trump has, of course, aggressively moved to expand his powers, sending National Guard troops into U.S. cities over the objection of the governors of those states, publicly threatening political opponents and the judiciary, and defying long-held constitutional norms and practices. So the term No Kings wasn't meant literally that President Trump has been elected a king and we're rejecting the king. It was meant to be a simple unifying term that would be meaningful to people who oppose the Trump presidency and the Trump agenda for a variety of issues. For some, it's about immigration rights. For some, it's about